fantasy. If you're talking sports, it's the matchup. Mickey here with Zizzy, we cutting it up. Just a couple athletic enthusiasts. You know what it is, the Mickey Zizzy podcast. And welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Mickey Zizzy podcast. If you didn't hear it enough in the slogan, there is always something special that we can find within each episode here. But this one, this one just brings back some nostalgia. Mickey Hines, what's better than 24?
25.
25! Let's go! This is season 4, episode 25. Let's get it. We are here to dive into a bunch of college football discussions. But first, this is the Mickey Zizzy podcast. As always, Pinnacle Supplementation. Make sure you reach your pinnacle. Check out pinnaclesup.com for all of your fitness and wellness related needs. If you want a discount on any of that merchandise, make sure you use the Mickey Zizzy discount code. Now, also go ahead, check out on YouTube and all of his other medias. Our man G43, that is Grant Anderson, and we already know what he's about. This is the pickup court globetrotter, secret sauce shooter, that smucker, smack talker. Shoot, this is the OBL extraordinaire, man. Like, let's talk about it. Man, we are back and ready to go. Mickey Hines, you have the floor, man. What's up?
Episode 25.
Woo.
Click in your seatbelt. Be ready to drive. Me beating you in sports debate is where I thrive. And open all live. We're back talking some college football today, as it is championship weekend, and we all know how much we love championships, just like that trophy that's sitting up right there. Finally got it, always behind me for the Pick'em trophy. We had to update the wall back there, just like how we're going to update all of you with your sports content. Wow. Started off per usual, starting it off with the Mark Mason person of the week, celebrating those who need to be celebrated. Zizzy, hit me with it.
Well, the person of the week, not even anybody I've ever met personally, but damn it, he makes me feel some type of way. Mike McDaniel, the coach of the Miami Dolphins. This is my guy. I don't care if you haven't even watched the new Hard Knocks episodes, but I've watched the first two, okay? And I have never loved a coach for the Miami Dolphins more than this man, Mike McDaniel. Stand up, Miami. This is sacred. His quote, not mine, and I would have dropped the F-bomb if I really wanted to use his quote. I don't care. I'm excited. This is the guy. Second half of the season, and I get to watch him do it behind the scenes. Most swag of any coach. The man makes me want to run through a brick wall in his own peculiar and odd way. Mike McDaniel, shout you out. Let's go, baby. Miami Dolphins, we up.
Big shout out. Dolphin fan over here is ecstatic. Mike McDaniel. I do have one quick thing. He is pretty cool. He is funny. Like I can play for the dude.
The quirkiness, like sometimes I don't know how to take it because it's like serious, like is it a facade? I don't know, but
like when they had the interception, was that against the Jets? Yeah, and he was like, or it was like on the field.
He was gone. He was in the tunnel, man. He was gone.
You got to kick the PAT, my dude. No, super awesome dude. I mean, I like him as a coach. But
yeah, man. I mean, obviously, great offensive mind. There's all the good actual coaching aspects to it. But I mean, when you bring a different culture, when you bring that swag to it, when you have fun, I mean, just watching the locker room and his interaction with the guy, like he has no problem telling you, like, I appreciate you. This is why you're important. Like, people need to hear that, man. And it's a different way of going about things. It's refreshing.
All right, fine. I'll be in the same boat as you. I'll be kind of doing the same thing. Someone I've never met. I've stood by him once upon a time. But Tory Taylor, punting is winning. The Iowa punter is the Big Ten punter of the year. He has declared himself for the NFL draft. I'm letting you know right now, as this is probably going to go into one of the college teams I'm going to be talking about here. Let's go Hawks. Whatever team he goes to, hopefully it's not Green Bay or Detroit or Minnesota. I will be first in line. All right, it's like old-fashioned Black Friday where you stand in line and have the camp tent and everything to get his jersey. All right, it'll be the only thing I'll
jersey bet
forward to. It doesn't, yes, as long as it doesn't go to the three other teams in the division, right? I'll be first in line. Tory Taylor, shout you out. Punting is winning. You make Iowa football fun. Let's go.
I just, that is the most Iowa thing though, because like y'all really have shirts that say punting is winning. Punting is winning, man. But No, shout him out. I mean, the dude is the Big Ten punter of the year. I mean, it is electric. You gotta love it.
Exactly. It's sad when you say electric when you get like I love special teams, so like punting was already kind of fun in my
Make
book.
special teams
So
special, baby.
exactly, and you get it inside the 5 yard, like let's go. You're going around the house, chest bumping people. Yeah, that's Iowa football, baby. Speaking of, let's just jump right into it. All right, we're gonna be recapping 2 to 3 teams about how their season went. I know we're in championship season, but now we're gonna talk about how their season went. As we are at the pretty much the end, almost into bowl season, which is gonna be super fun. Let's talk about them Hawkeyes, right? They have created their own brand of winning, right? Barely winning, getting the job done. Defense, nasty. Defense, so good, right? Beating the teams we should. It's ugly, but you know what the saying is. You'd always take an ugly win over a pretty loss any day of the week, Yank. And my quick rant, and then I'll talk about like all the statistics and everything about it too, is they lost their tight end, their starting tight end from the transfer portal. They lost McNamara, their transfer quarterback, right? Receivers are dropping everything, right? So they're trying to blame that on Brian Ferentz, which he's gone after this year. And I don't think it's solely on him. Like he's actually been calling a pretty good game, right? O-line got a bunch of honorable mentions for Big Ten offense. That was the only like offensive part I think our running back did as well, Williams, for like Big Ten honors. But that's not on Ferentz because like the receivers have been dropping ball. Like the offense is, I'll admit it, yeah, it's not good, right? And I think anyone in the media can see that today. But the other part of the media that I cannot stand is Yank. What is the end goal of a football game?
You know, the end goal is to win, I
To win.
believe.
Oh, okay, to win. So if you have 10 wins, if you're 10-2, you're a pretty dang good football team, right?
Absolutely.
Exactly. I had someone say we need to get rid of Kirk Ferentz because he doesn't score enough points. He does score enough points because that's 10 wins on the season. He's Big Ten West champs. He's playing in Indianapolis this weekend against the Michigan Wolverines. They did their job. They understood the assignment. The defense loves playing for him. Any single player loves playing for Kirk Ferentz, right? I think that
Yep.
person is a idiot. All right. You don't need to score points because you know who scores points, Yank? USC scores a ton of points, right? But they
That's
ain't
true.
winning. They're not even
That's
ranked
true.
anymore. Right.
That's
That was
true.
probably my worst take of the year, having them win the championship, right? But you know who is good? Who does win? The Hawks. And that's the thing I hate about today's side. They want to see the touchdowns. They want to see the swag. They want to see all this and that. Like, Hawks are just old fashioned. Like, hey, we're going to line you up. We're going to beat you. We're going to play fundamental football and come get us. Now, we'll get into what I think about the Big Ten Championship, but give me a little Hawk talk.
I mean, let's just talk about it, right? I'm a defensive guy. I'll say this. As nobody likes to watch a defensive game necessarily, but to be in one, to play in it's a beautiful thing. That's a struggle in the trenches. That's man on man. Like I'm just stronger and better than you throughout the duration of this game. I am more durable than you. That's all Iowa is. Iowa is I'm impose my will on you and bend until you break. We aren't going
Yes.
to break. And it's kind of what it's been. It's been last stick around, survive until you can't bear the weight anymore. And I mean, hey, it's worked. And it's been honestly, let's be real. This has been the Iowa recipe now for the last 5 years or so. It's kind of just been let's rely on the defense. The offense will score just enough.
Just
I mean,
enough.
they're averaging 18 points per game. It's not anything impressive. Okay. So we know that their offense has been injured. We know that they have been dwindling as far as numbers go, but we know they got big boys up front. They can punish you if you're not going to be physical with them. And the defense is one of the best in the nation. I would say top three. I mean, they
Top
are.
three.
You got. Tell me another team that would be a one-loss team right now with this offense.
One loss? No, no one would. No other team in the NCAA would have 2 losses with this offense.
Yeah, or 2 losses. Yeah, but that's what I'm just saying. Like
No
sitting
other
here,
team.
yeah, but I'm just saying, like, no other team would be out there and having this type of record with an offense that was struggling the way that they
No.
have. I think that speaks volumes in itself. It's not like they're playing in some weak conference, all right? They're playing Big Ten. Like this is big time. So I gotta shout them out, but they got a really tough test in the Big Ten championship. You're going against Michigan. The spread is ugly.
Having it the over.
I mean, shoot, I
Yank,
like the spread, man. I do. I don't know, man. 24. You're telling me you're gonna get beat like that? I don't think it's gonna be like that. I gotta give them some credit. I'm gonna think you're in the championship game for a reason. They gotta, I mean, do I expect them to win? No, but I do think it could be some type of defensive struggle where maybe they give themselves a chance.
Yank, I mean, the reason why that spread is so big is because when they lost to Penn State, who's the ranked 10 team right now, is 31-0, right? And our only other loss was Cooper DeJean did not call a fair catch, which shout out Cooper DeJean wherever he goes. He was actually Iowa native, so I actually got to see him like run on a track meet. It was really cool. He's wherever he goes next year. I don't know if he's gonna go because he broke his leg, and we're having our least like our best defender out there, which that kind of stinks. It happened in practice. Super sad for him. But you there? There we go. Sorry, technical difficulties. We back.
No, yeah, we're good.
All
We're
right,
back.
so let's talk about this Big Ten game. How wild is it if Iowa wins 14-10? Could you see that? Could you see that happening? Could you hold this?
No, I'm saying if there's it's
They're a run team.
defense can
Stop
change
them.
everything.
Exactly. They can change everything. Special teams can go down and score. If the offense clicks at least once, I believe I go into every game with we have a chance. That's the optimistic fan I am, which really hurts my soul a lot of the times. But do you think we cover the spread? Oh, yeah. We'll start
I
with that.
think you cover the spread. I like Iowa covering
The worst,
spread.
I think the worst we see it is 24-7, right? 24-3. Like that's the worst you see it. And that's an Iowa score. You know what I'm saying? But like I realistically could see a 17-14 game, a 14-10 game, because that defense is just so good and we can stop the run. Right? Sometimes we can't hang with fast receivers, right? I know Penn State, they kind of ran all over us. I get it. During that game, they had 3 runners over 50 yards. Like I get it. Like that doesn't really help out my case. But we also had just not a good play on offense. We had 3 and out and just kicked it right back to them. So the defense was always on the field. If this offense can stay on the field and get field goals, we're winning the game. Stay on the field, give that defense a rest, we're winning the game.
I mean, I like I said, I like them. I do like Iowa to cover the spread there. I do think it could be much closer than what people anticipate, but at the same time, like there's a worry with me when it comes to it being Michigan because Michigan has shown they're not afraid to play the bully ball game. They ran it 36 times in a row against Penn State. That tells me that they are not worried about anybody trying to get deep and dirty with them in the trenches. Like they are prepared and ready to do that. So again, I'm not going to sit here and even say that they are going to pull the upset. I just think that you have to give the defense credit at some point.
Yank, that's the scary thing is Michigan is prepared for a national title. Like that's the scary thing. That's just optimistic.
And let's be real. This was their first. Hey, Harbaugh's back. So let's be
Harbaugh's
real.
back. We're gonna cover the spread. It'll be all great. All right. What's the team you want to talk about? That's enough Hawk talk because I'm
The next one that I want to talk about isn't even one that's going to be in discussion. Honestly, 2 teams that I want to talk about aren't going to be in discussion for any college football playoff position, but they are just teams that I think have had great stories and storylines throughout the season, and are teams that are worth mentioning. And the first one for me is LSU. LSU has been very I would say this. I'm going to say tough losses early, right? You go ahead, you lose to FSU and Ole Miss, but let's not discredit that, right? Those are both great teams. I mean, FSU is
11th and 4th in the
college
nation.
football. What?
11th and 4th in the nation.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I mean, their losses earlier against good teams. They've won 6 of their last 7. The only loss in those 7 coming to Alabama. I mean, Bama, I've been talking about as the hottest team in college football right now. But really, when it comes down to it, it's the offensive recruiting, the offensive powerhouse that has been LSU since honestly, circa Joe Burrow era, a couple years before that, maybe even. But like the prospects that they've had at quarterback have just continued to develop. And Jaden Daniels, I know everyone brings up Caleb Williams. I know people were talking Shador, people were talking Drake May. Jaden Daniels is my best quarterback prospect in this draft, at least after this season. I mean, 4,000 yards, 40 touchdowns to only 4 interceptions. You have 1,100 rush yards and another 10 touchdowns. I mean, the guy is dynamic. He's putting the team on his back. Yes, they're a 3-loss team, but it's football, man. It's a team game, and I don't care how great a quarterback is. Very rarely do they win that game by themselves, and the defense has to be able to stop stuff. If anything, we've seen LSU struggle on the defensive side of the ball, but Jaden Daniels has to be in consideration for the best quarterback prospect coming out of college football this season. I know we've seen everything that we've seen from Penix, from Williams, from Nix, from forget all that. This guy might be the guy, and I just feel like he's worth mentioning and talking about this team as a whole because of what he's done.
Yank, I was afraid you're gonna bring this up because this is why I'm happy I'm kind of not deciding, because the Heisman definitely should go to him, but you also want to give it to a team that wins more, right? But they also lost to two top 11 teams in the nation. Those are respectable losses. When you say he really doesn't have the Justin Jefferson, he doesn't have the Marvin Harrison Jr., he doesn't have the rushing game like the Michigan Wolverines, right? He doesn't have the tenacity defense like Georgia Bulldogs, right? A lot of those other people have a lot of stuff to back them up, right? Bo Nix, I'll give you credit. Bo Nix has, I feel like, been in the college football for like ever now. But Jaden Daniels, I totally respect that. I mean, he's diverse. He shows he can throw for 4K yards, right? The running game, that's what a lot of these quarterbacks who are coming out of the draft are kind of forming like. That's more of the quarterback people are looking for in the league, just because they're more dynamic. But and his pocket presence is great, and they go and win games. And when they play bad teams, they go blow out bad teams. Oh, the third loss was to Alabama, who's eighth.
Yeah,
So
that's what I'm saying.
three,
All of them,
three
they're all
teams,
top 10. All
three
of them.
top 10. And at that point, right, there's only so much you can do. I think from statistics alone, you definitely could give it to Daniels, right? If this is a statistic game, which I love statistics, you give it to him. But I do like Penix, man. Penix is a dog. Washington undefeated. If they go into the college football playoff, they go beat Oregon this weekend. I think that is a stamp for him. And I get the stats are nowhere near. Jane Daniels have the same stats. He actually has better stats than Joe Burrow did when he won the Heisman back in the day. That's a hard comparison for me. Hank. That's the hard part. I'm like, I really want to give it to him because we're comparing with Joe Burrow, like the greatest college football team we ever did see, 2019, 2020, 2019, whatever year it was. Okay. And then you look at Penix, who's been putting on a show, and the team's undefeated. Washington, this is the brand new team. They're ready to go. First time in the college football playoff. Hopefully, we'll talk about that later. I wish I could give you like a good answer of what side I'm on because I see both sides, and I got to go with the stats. I mean, I've been a stats guy on this podcast forever. So, I mean, stats alone, I would love to give it to them, and hopefully they go win their bowl game and end out on top. But stats alone, man, you just cannot bat an eye at it. And the three losses are respectful. Granted, 42-28 wasn't anything great. And then real quick, those other two games were three losses. Sorry, let me find. 45-24. So once again, they kind of got blown out.
Well, again, and that's where I come up
Oh,
with
it
the whole
is.
thing about it can't always just be the quarterback that we look at. I know the quarterback's the most important position in football. They get the most credit for a win and the most credit for a loss. But I mean, the
If he's
man,
not on that team, they
he
lose.
hasn't had a defense, man. And it's just sometimes, and it's the same thing you bring up with USC, right? Like you can score a lot, but sometimes it doesn't matter. I mean, Caleb Williams, if you look at his stats, the man is premier talent, and I mean should still be in consideration for the top quarterback off the board, if not automatic. So I mean, I get all that, but to me, just from what I've seen, because he has a little bit less around him, because I mean, I know he's got Napers, that's a great wide receiver, but still, they have had so much less around him for his entire career. I mean, like you said, he's out here surpassing
Yeah,
Joe Burrow numbers,
I
dude.
think I've totally solved it too. I think you talk about most valuable player. If he is not on this team, they lose the Arkansas game, which they only won by 3.
Yep.
Okay. They don't be putting up 40 points. Those 3 losses they had, they scored 40 points or more, and Ole Miss scored 55 on LSU's defense. Okay. So Daniels, I mean, he put up 24 in about all of them. Okay. You don't do that without him. Okay. And Florida this past weekend or 2 weekends ago, okay, 35-52. If he's not on the team, I don't think they win that game. All right. And then with Texas A&M 30-42, like
Well, in that Florida game, he had like 200 yards rushing himself. Like he was a dynamic monster in that game. So I
I'm
agree with
shipping
you
it. I'm
there.
signing off.
And
Daniels Heisman.
Daniels for MVP, because when you even bring up the whole, like, yes, I understand that Washington might have the best offense. They are undefeated. Look at some of our last few Heisman. They weren't all-time winners either. And I mean, Baker, Hurts when he won it.
Joe
Who
Burrow
won?
was.
Yeah, I mean, who won it last year?
Was it
Uh,
Duggan?
huh?
Max Duggan? Uh-oh. Oh, no, Devontae Smith was 2 years.
No, Devontae Smith was 2 years ago. Was it Duggan last year?
Gosh, look at us. Did
I,
not.
I mean, but I'm just saying, you think of all those guys. I mean, Devontae Smith was on the winningest program out of all of them, and he's not
Oh,
even the
Caleb
quarterback.
Williams. Caleb Williams, which
Caleb Williams. I mean, he
Bryce
didn't.
Young, he won
uh,
it. Devontae Smith,
Bryce, I
over
mean,
Kyler
yeah,
Murray.
yeah. So Kyler Murray, Baker. I mean, you see some of these guys; they're not always on the top of the top when it comes to the winningest team. So I say you got to put them in there.
James Daniel. All right, Zizzy. If it happens, we might have to make sure. To make it Zizzy, we sign off on it. James Daniels, with same colors, LSU.
Let's go, Jane Daniels
Jaden
for the
Daniels,
Heisman.
not James Daniels. Jaden Daniels. That's James Daniels was an Iowa lineman who played for Chicago. Jaden
Dude, you know them all. I love it.
Jaden Daniels for Heisman. I love it. The next team I want to talk about is actually your Florida State Seminoles.
Hey,
Was that one of
hey.
the teams you want to talk about?
It was. So, I
Okay.
mean, it's fine.
So we'll mix the two. Obviously, you're gonna have a lot of information. My thing is, Yank, they are going to be a team where they're in the playoff. Okay. I'm gonna say it. They're gonna go beat Louisville this weekend, even with their backup. It is so sad to see your starting quarterback, who is Jordan Travis, Jordan Travis go out, right? He was a baller, he was leading Florida State. This might be y'all's year, undefeated, let's go, and gets hurt, doesn't want to return, wants to go to the league, all that jazz, right? He's going to the league.
I mean, most likely. I mean, I don't think he has any years left,
Yeah.
honestly.
Yeah, red shirt. Yeah, red
He's
shirt.
been with us for quite a while.
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, you lose your guy who's been there for a while, but I totally believe in him. Louisville, I don't think it's going to be this team that's going to knock the doors off of them or even win. I think they can win with your backup quarterback, and you cannot take a championship Florida State team in their conference not in the playoff, an undefeated team, Seminoles, and they have proved themselves. I think you just can't do it, Yank. And I mean, my last thing I want to talk about before I let you go on your ranks, I know you're going to have a lot more of the factual because it's your squad. So I'll let you talk about your squad, right? But like Miami, like 27-20, Miami is a good club. Florida, good club, beat them 24-15. Okay. Duke was pretty good at the beginning of the year, 38-20, right? Clemson, I mean, they started to catch fire here towards the end of the season, 31-24, right? They won it in overtime. I remember talking about that game. Okay. And they go beat LSU in the beginning of the season. So they have the resume, they have the wins, in my opinion, to show like, hey, this team is for real, right? They're not no fluke. They've beat some pretty storied franchise or dynasties, not dynasties, but franchises, okay, schools. So I sign off on Seminoles. I really like them. They're a team I'm definitely going to be kind of rooting for. Whether they get that 4 or that 3 seed, I don't think they'll be a 2 or a 1, but I'd be rooting for them.
I mean, we've been saying it. I think we mentioned it before. I mean, if you are a Power Five school and you are undefeated, you run the table. That schedule is set by the NCAA. I mean, you deserve the right to play in a big time bowl game or a playoff game. And I mean, in this scenario, when you've beaten a couple ranked opponents, when you have some teams that, yes, might not have had their greatest year this year, but have been consistent powerhouses in the league, you got to take that into consideration. I understand the Jordan Travis injury is huge. You can't deny it. I get that. The man was a 3,000-yard passer. He was a two-dimensional player. The man was our leader, our captain, and it knocks the wind out of your sails. But this isn't just like us having a backup quarterback. Like Tate Rodemaker, he's played games. Like he's played games in past seasons. The guy is a seasoned backup. It's not the same. Like to me, him stepping in, if I have to use a comparison, is kind of like Mike White last year for the Jets. Like coming in, like the guy is stable. He knows the system. He's played in the system and he's done it well. I mean, we were down 14-0 or whatever to it's South Georgia or like South Alabama or something so crazy. North Alabama. Sorry. It was North Alabama, not South. But we were down 14-0 when Jordan Travis got hurt. Or 13-0 when Jordan Travis got hurt. And Tate comes in and rattles off like 50 unanswered. Okay. Like I know it's against North Alabama, but the guy can still play football. I know he looks like a 150-pound JV football player soaking wet. I know he got rocked in the Florida game, but he came back in and we won that game. If we are an undefeated team in the ACC, this ain't, I know it's not Big Ten or SEC, but it's still a traditional Power Five ACC conference. Clemson, the powerhouse from 2 to 3 years ago for years running. I mean, they're still here. So,
2016 to 2019
I
or
mean, come on now. So it's just you at the end of the day, you have to take into account that we aren't responsible for the schedule we're given, but we took care of business. And whether or not we had the starting quarterback or not on the field.
y'all beat the Heisman, right? You beat the guy who's going to win the Heisman, which we just clarified, whether we just broke the news on here on the
Yeah.
podcast. It grinds
So
gears when these Big Five conferences go undefeated and they don't make it to the college football playoff, right? That means you only care about Big Ten, SEC. That's all you care about then, right?
well,
And that's blasphemous because there's great teams, the Florida State Seminoles, right? Washington Huskies, okay? Those teams should be in if they go undefeated and win their
and what did I just say? It's not just a quarterback game, you know. I mean, we still have Benson at running back. We still have Keon Coleman, Johnny Wilson, Jameel Bell. Like we have people at wide receiver. We have a great line. Our defense has been pretty solid all season. I mean, it takes a village to go 12-0. Let's understand that. So I want to sit here. I'm going to vouch for them. But I will say, if there's anything, I'm nervous when it comes to selection Sunday, regardless of what we do. If we blow out Louisville, there shouldn't be a question. There shouldn't be a question. But I know if it's close, they're gonna hold it against us.
Yank. But that's the thing. You are ranked fourth right now. How can you drop after winning an ACC title? It can't happen. Now, if they lose, they're out, right? If they lose to Louisville,
Yep.
everyone's clear sign that, like, oh, Florida State was what everyone thought, which I don't believe in, right? That defense is good. The most points they've given up this year is 24. Okay. Oh,
It
sorry.
was against the Heisman.
29 to
Oh yeah. Okay.
Boston College at the beginning of the year.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That was scary.
Yeah, that was scary. But then the second most was 24 to the Heisman winner. Otherwise, it's been 23, 16, 7, 13, 20. Like those are all great. You know what I'm saying? So I totally ship it, man. I'm rooting for you. I like to see them different colors.
I want to see them. I just know if this Louisville game is close, I've already caught wind. Just you listen to analysts on ESPN, you listen to Paul Feinbaum, everything else. They're going to hold it against them. They are.
They are. Now, anything else before I talk about my last team?
Nah, moving on, baby.
The last thing I want to talk about is Coach Prime.
Colorado?
Yeah. Is that who you want to talk about?
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Well, let's just
You guys are killing. Yeah, I hate. Well, I got another one that I can totally bring up because it's off the top of my head, but I got you.
People now say he lost the last 5 or 6 of the last 7 games, whatever it may be, and saying, oh, he was just all that, but he took that one team, that 1-win team around to a 4-win team. Coach Prime shows the love. If you saw some of the stuff on social media saying like, I love you guys. Yeah, I didn't go our way, but we're going to be back next year. And like, he really, truly cares. He has changed it around. He is changing college football. And yeah, I think I said this similar. I said they'd be a bowl team, a bowl game team this year. I was a little 1 or 2 wins off this year, which is respectful. But next year, every new upcoming high school athlete is going to want to go there to be coached under Coach Prime to get into the league, right? They're the new hottest thing. Okay. They're going to the bigger conference, right? Because the Pac-12 is being eliminated. So that just screams for Colorado to be great next year. Shadir is going to have a whole system, a whole year under a system of that offense being coached underneath his dad at this program. So all that aside, let's look at those losses, right? Lost by 6 to Utah, which Utah was pretty good. Okay. Got blown out by Washington State. Okay. Throw that one out of the bag. That's the outlier. Lost by 3 to 14 ranked Arizona. Lost by 5 to 21st ranked Oregon State. Lost by 12 to UCLA. 3 to Stanford. And they beat Arizona State by 3. Lost by 7 to USC, who we thought was great, right? All those games were within 3. A lot of those losses were within 3 besides Oregon and Washington State where they got blown out, right? those are one-score games. You know what happens to teams? So when you lose those one-score games, what typically happens in the next year, if you bring back majority of your team, you flip the script and you go win a lot of ball games. Saying right now, I said I've been a Coach Prime fan right here. My second, third favorite college. Actually, I think my second favorite college football team. I stated since he got there, Colorado Buffalo. Look out for them next year. They're gonna be fun. They're gonna win ball games. I buy now. Buy the stock of Coach Prime.
Hey, and it's been some agreements across the board here, but I mean, let's think about that team when they were winning, right? When they started out the year 3-0, 3-1, whatever it was. But I mean, Colorado owned the first 4 weeks of the NCAA football season. I mean, it was all anybody talked about. Coach Prime might as well have been ESPN during the first 4 weeks of the college football season. Prime time is real. And I mean, like you said, just wait till these guys turn around and he gets his full recruiting class for a season. You think they ain't going to get some big boys up front? You think they're going to have some guys that could play in the trenches? I mean, Shador Sanders is elite. I'm going to go ahead and say that right now. Give him another year to play just college ball at this high of a level. I mean, the dude knows ball. He's got a very high football IQ. He's got a strong arm. He's athletic. He's got that Sanders athleticism. But I mean, this is the guy that stayed behind the line that, let's be honest, there was no line. He's walking around with a fractured back right now. I mean, he can't play. So it is what it is. He'll be back next year. I think he's already kind of next level ready. But I mean, he's being mentored by TB12. You're going to have a line to block for you next year. You keep Travis Hunter and some of these other pieces around. I absolutely love what they're building over at Colorado. And if they keep the momentum going, everybody's going to go there, like you said. And it won't be long until they're near the top of that list.
Powerhouse. They're going to be a team in contention. They're going to be ranked like they were at the beginning of this year. You were so right. He was the face of ESPN, of SportsCenter, those first 3 weeks of college football.
Yeah, and I love your point too, man. I love your point too. Like when you're talking about how they had all these one-score games. Like that's huge when you talk about bringing back, like, revenge games are real, especially in college. If you keep that core, like that, people train and live and breathe for the revenge chance. So I love the mentality. You bring in some more people to kind of just get those final dogs, those big boys up front, and you can make some things happen.
Yes, indeed. Well, that goes it for like I said, buying Colorado stock next year. Might even get a Colorado hat like your boy over there. But
hey man, gotta show some love when you win Rado.
Let's just get into our prediction. So obviously this weekend is going to be huge for the college football playoff. This is the last year where it will just be the first four, so no more big debates like, oh, this should have happened, that should have happened. So Yank, riddle me this. Who's going to make the college football playoff? Uh-oh.
Well, I got Georgia not making it. So that's my big hot take number one. Georgia's out. I've got Michigan in. I've got Washington in. I want Florida State to be in so bad.
They will.
And I think if they're undefeated, they should be in. Something tells me they're going to get gypped. I don't know who. I'm going to tell you, I think Bama's in after winning the SEC championship because I believe that Bama is going to upset Georgia and they're going to allow that to happen. Whether obviously, I think some more things kind of have to happen with Texas and you're looking at Ohio State, but I don't like Ohio State being in it after losing to Michigan. I just feel like you should be a champion. I'm going to go Michigan, Washington. FSU, Bama.
So Bama makes a jump by upsetting Georgia. So that's your big hot take. And Yank, I wanted to go with that, but that stank is still in the Alabama locker room. And I'm going Georgia. I think Georgia does hold on, but I think Georgia does lose and they do not go back to back. I think they sneak out a win, right? Auburn was way too close for Alabama. Okay, it was the Milrow Miracle. All right, Georgia ain't gonna let that happen. That defense is still gonna be nasty. All right. I think they hold off Alabama and they solidify that one spot. And I think the rankings they have right now is what's gonna be. Washington's gonna go win. Florida State's gonna go win. Michigan and Georgia. All four of those teams are gonna go win their conference title, and they're all gonna go meet each other in. Florida State's gonna have a real tough opponent, but I think Florida State can pull it. Like, I'm more excited about Florida State than you are, and this is your squad, right? This is like,
Well, it's not that I'm not excited. I'm still sitting here like I said, I just picked them to be in there because I believe if they win, they should be in. But something is just telling, like maybe it's the fan in me that's just like waiting for that bad thing to happen. But like something tells me that they're gonna get gypped because of the Travis injury. And if this game isn't a blowout against Louisville, then they really have an argument, or at least they think they do. And to me, that's where, if anything, I'm worried about FSU falling out and Oregon or Ohio State sneaking in.
I don't think they can. I mean, all I see
Ohio State's only loss is to Michigan.
Michigan. So if Florida State loses, that's they would go down.
People would look at Ohio State
Oregon,
and think that they are stronger than Florida State at that point.
yeah, it's going to be interesting because Ohio State really has the leverage here because if Florida State loses, I think Ohio State jumps in, right?
Yep.
If Michigan loses, oh my soul, it's gonna. I still think they send Michigan. I don't even know.
That honestly, that would break the NCAA.
No, and if Alabama and Iowa wins, that means Georgia will go down to like 4. Alabama will be 3. Washington will be 1. Florida State will be 2. It'll be 5. That'll be insane. Now we're talking crazy talk. Anyway, Yank. There it is. You have it. You have Alabama winning, sneaking into the final. Michigan, Washington, Florida State, Bama. I have the final 4 remaining: Georgia, Michigan, Washington State, Florida State. Sign us off, big dog. Let's go.
Hey man, this is the Mickey Zizzy podcast. Check out the Fantasy Football Mickey Zizzy podcast and our pick'ems. But if you're talking sports, it's the matchup. Mickey here with Zizzy, are we cutting it up? Just a couple athletic enthusiasts. You know what it is, the Mickey Zizzy podcast. Have a great night, everybody. Peace.
Thanks.